If you thought Vivek Ramaswamy's moment had passed after the second Republican debate, he just proved you wrong. Now only a year from the election, Vivek has grabbed the party by the neck, crushing the entire panel in the third debate, and he spared no one. Not the warhawk Nikki Haley, the neocon Ron Desantis, and not even the entrenched authority higher up in the Republican caucus. I'll just let him speak for himself so he can get to it.
I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party.
That takes some gall to say since the enigma that was Donald Trump, the Republican Party has struggled to find a force that can carry forward that whirlwind. In fact, America itself cannot afford a losing streak that risks bringing to power the likes of Gavin Newsom, or God forbid, even Kamala Harris. The Republicans barely clinched a majority in the House of Representatives last November, and it's going to take a good degree of introspection for the party to turn around. Honestly, since Trump has not been on stage for the past 3 debates, Vivek Ramaswamy looks like the only person on that stage that can do that. Though that particular call for resignation did make me laugh out loud for how unapologetic he was in saying it, Ronna McDaniel responded to him during an interview backstage later saying simply, listen, he's at 4%, he needs a headline.
And so the fact of the matter is, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Roberts.
Sorry. This is how we get our country back. We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
and they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Absolute takedown of the legacy media right to their face. Vivek Ramaswamy says a lot of things Trump has called out the media for, except he says it in a more articulate fashion than Trump probably wants to. Even Kristen Welker couldn't resist smiling. She knows that guy's not sparing anyone today, but I mean, can you blame Vivek for taking them to task? The media, which is arguably the most important lever on political discourse and political results, basically gets a free pass for lying as the public's collective consciousness just moves on. Remember their lies over Paul Manafort or that 17 U.S. agencies agreed to the Russia collusion narrative?
How do you get TikTok banned if you use it?
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which is about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Your adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
answer is actually to say that we're just going to ban one app. We got to go further. We have to ban any U.S. company actually transferring U.S. data to the Chinese.
I don't get it. Why did she get so offended at that? If Nikki Haley thinks it's a good idea to point fingers at Vivek for joining TikTok, on which he's got a much more nuanced view of banning than Nikki, why can't he come back at her for the same? Like it or not, TikTok has over 80 million young users in the United States, and it's not a social media strategy you can leave out at least before it goes away. The loud back and forth between Vivek and Nikki was honestly the highlight of the entire debate for me, while guys like Chris Christie faded into the background, and Tim Scott was more like listening to a pastor.
Do you want a leader from a different generation who's going to put this country first, or do you want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
All right, Mr.
In which case, we've got 2 of them on stage tonight.
Ramaswamy, thank you.
Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy. This is a country that has banned 11 opposition parties. It has consolidated all media into one state TV media arm. That's not democratic. It has threatened not to hold elections this year unless the U.S. forks over more money. That is not democratic. It has celebrated a Nazi in its ranks, the comedian in cargo pants, a man called Zelensky, doing it in their own ranks. That is not democratic. So to frame this as some kind of battle between good versus evil, don't buy it.
This guy's gotta have those quips and comebacks prepared, because I don't think anyone can come up with these gold mines on the fly. It's said that in the world you live in today, you need to go to comedians for their insight and to politicians for their comedy. I now see why that is. Nikki Haley is ironically the most war hawkish of everyone on the panel, even Desantis. She just loves foreign wars for some reason, be it Israel, Ukraine, or a possible one in Taiwan. This is actually part of the problem with the Republican Party's current messaging and branding to young people. Young people in the country just don't want to be embroiled in more forever wars, reflected in the fact that according to a recent poll, more than 40% of Americans believe the United States is doing too much for Ukraine in the current conflict. Let's be a bit more isolationist on the international front, or at least more nationalist, so we can solve our own problems first.
I want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now, so we can see whether it's Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else.
All right,
just tell us the truth.
Not even the president? Vivek just said the quiet part out loud, and it's going to make a lot of people angry. He's splashed that stagnant water of the establishment, and I'm sure you're going to see them coming for him the more speed he picks up. Right now, I'm just excited to watch him every time he speaks, and I'm sure you are too, whether you agree with him or not.